Welcome to Let the Boys Kiss, the creation of queer ships, where we ask the question, is it queer baiting, queer coding, or queer canon?
This week, we'll be discussing Caitlyn/Vi, aka Piltover's finest, and Jay/Victor, or JayVik, from Arcane. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Kelsey.
Arcane! So this was a listener request.
Very much so. Very much.
Indeed. Now, you had already seen at least some of it.
I'd seen all of season 1 prior to us receiving this request. You had seen none.
I had seen none, and I didn't know what it was, and I still don't know what it is, and I don't know anything about it, really.
Yeah, so the characters we're doing, as we said, are Caitlyn and Vi and Jace/Victor. This show is based on a video game called League of Legends, which also, we have not played and don't know anything about the game. So any sort of, game lore is not informing our
All I know is that
viewing
they
of the show.
fight in it, and that people do esports for it.
It's esports. I mentioned to you, I love the Chance the Rapper SNL skit where he's covering it and he calls it League of Legos and he says everyone's having fun. I'm not. So I know that. And we learned about Faker the other day.
Yeah, he's a legend, huh?
he's a legend in the League of Legends.
6-time world champ.
Faker.
Cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we don't know shit is what we're telling you. Clearly, we are not in the know. So I do think that will potentially come through in our discussion here because there's a lot going on in the show that is very lore heavy. And I assume some of it would have made more sense had we been players of the game.
Yeah. And we could have got enjoyment picking up on fun Easter eggs that just right over our heads.
Yeah, a lot went right over our heads. So since this is not a show discussing the plot of a series, but it is about the queer characters, we're gonna stick mostly to that.
Yes.
Today.
Yeah. I rewatched the first season. You watched both seasons. We both watched both seasons, and we're gonna do the broadest of overviews, and then just get into the character beats. And if we say something that doesn't make sense to you, because you also are not super familiar with the lore, don't worry about it. It doesn't make sense to us either, and we watch the show.
Yeah, we just gotta kind of keep moving on.
Yes. Okay. Broad overview of the show. Season 1. Rich people live in an upper city. Poor people live in a lower city. They do not get along.
Nope.
They are inventing technology that is magic. It is creating more problems. We end on a cliffhanger where someone from the lower city has killed a bunch of people in
important people.
The ruling council from the upper city.
And so you're like, okay, class warfare is coming.
Yes.
And then the next season kind of changes a little bit where there's an outside forces start to sort of invade the city, then upper and lower class have to unite to fight them. The magic stuff has really fucked everything up now, and then we get a
final battle. Piltover, upper lower class against the outside forces and the evil magic. In the end, they win. Woo! No magic.
No more magic.
That's the show.
Great. And so our couples are Caitlyn and Vi, as we mentioned, who are, one of them is upper class cop lady, and one of them is lower class, has been fucked over by the upper class, but the two of them bond and unite over some stuff that is going on that we'll touch upon, but doesn't really matter again. And so they fall in love. And then we also have Jace and Victor, who are both scientists. One of them also comes from the upper class and one comes from the lower class, but the two of them together are the ones that invent the magic that fucks everything up.
Yes, and it tears them apart, but then it kind of brings them back together. Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, so we're gonna start with Caitlyn and Vi. As you said, Caitlyn is the daughter of a counselor, very hoity-toity, very, very rich. She becomes a cop because she wants to make her own way.
Sure. Yeah, she doesn't want to just rest on her mom's coattails.
Yes. And then Vi, as you said, from the Undercity, very traumatic life, a lot of dead people in her wake, a lot going on. She's a fighter.
You say in her wake like she killed all of them, but no.
You're true. That's sorry.
This is like she's got dead parents, she's got dead father figures, she's got a lot going on. Missing
She thought her sister was dead.
Yeah.
People be dead friends. A lot of dead people. So she's, quite traumatized.
Yep.
She's been jailed for years
for not a lot of reason, seemingly.
No, and there doesn't seem to be any legal system in this world, so there wasn't a trial.
Jail, but I didn't ever see any trials. People just get put in jail.
She just was put in jail for years. And so the thing with these two is they are lesbians. It's not they think they're straight and then they discover this is just a canon lesbian relationship, which is very cool. Yep. We like it. So they meet because Caitlyn gets Vi released from prison to help her navigate the Undercity so she can find who turns out to be Vi's sister, Jinx, who's also really fucking shit up.
Even more traumatized than Vi.
Yeah, trauma, man.
Lots happening, yep.
So what happens when they go to the Undercity together?
So, kicks off kind of like a buddy cop situation, as you might expect, which we like, and they go to a brothel to get some information, and Caitlyn, who is classy and rich and doesn't usually hang out in places like this, is of course uncomfortable initially. And Vi is trying to teach her, I guess, how to move through this world. And so they're here, they want to interrogate people. Vi says to Caitlyn, "You know what your problem is?"
And Caitlyn says, "Please tell me."
"You expect everyone to give you what you want. If you really want people to talk to you, you have to let them think you have what they want."
"And what do I have?"
"You're hot, Cupcake. So what'll it be, man or woman?"
And Caitlyn goes, no answer.
No answer. Suspicious.
Vi leaves Caitlyn with a potential John or client.
Yeah.
Goes to talk to someone she knows, and when she comes back, Caitlyn's in a room flirting with
a lady. Hell yeah. And Vi's like, I see. So then they're continuing on their path to find some stuff. They come into conflict with people, as you might expect. Caitlyn has to save Vi's life. And the nickname continues. Vi says to her, "You're so sweet, like a cupcake," because she won't stop calling her Cupcake, and Caitlyn is annoyed at first, but presumably charmed later,
True. More conflict. Vi gets stabbed in the conflict. Caitlyn has to go and trade her precious gun for a potion to save Vi's life, and, she holds her face tenderly after she administers the potion.
Yes.
Nice.
Then, again, more conflict. The two of them end up getting kidnapped, as happens. And so they're tied up with, bags over their head somewhere. And they're bickering, as you might expect. Vi gets taken away to be interrogated. And then we find out that actually she's been kidnapped by someone who is an old friend of hers. And it's all going to be fine. But Caitlyn does not know this yet. So they come back into the room with Caitlyn, who still is very bravely being like, "Let Vi go. It's me you want."
And Vi goes, "My hero."
And it's like, I'm here and I'm fine and everything's chill, actually.
Part of the reason I guess they've gone to the Undercity too is that some of the magic tech has been stolen. They're trying to recover that. And so then they try to take the magic tech back up to the upper city. They do have a hug. They say goodbye to each other. It's sweet. Vi says, "Thanks for everything, Cupcake."
But she doesn't get far before she hears shit start to go down back where Caitlyn is. There's a gunshot. Vi starts running back and is yelling out, "Caitlyn!" And she rescues her. They're rescuing each other all the time, these two.
It's nice. They go back to Caitlyn's house, and that's where Vi learns she's rich, real rich.
Yep.
And Caitlyn's like, what we should do is go to the council and tell them what's what, because the council doesn't know, and I can get in because my mom's a counselor.
Yeah, and if they knew, they would do the just and righteous thing, as councils always do.
So they go to the council, but it doesn't work. They weren't able to convince the council to do the right thing.
I'm shocked. We're all shocked. Everyone's shocked.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they gotta break up in the rain now because things aren't going their way. It sometimes it'd be like that. And so Vi is basically lamenting that the whole thing was doomed from the start. She says to Caitlyn, "It wasn't enough. Top side and bottom, oil and water. That's all there is."
Caitlyn says, "What about us?"
"Oil and water wasn't meant to be."
You're just saying that.
Do yourself a favor, Cupcake. Go back to that big shiny house of yours and just forget me, okay? Dramatic.
Yeah. Okay, this must then be where season 2 comes in, because Caitlyn's mom has died in the attack on the council. She was a counselor. Womp womp.
Womp womp.
And so Vi is trying to comfort her about her dead mother. And Caitlyn takes this opportunity to be like, come with me, work with me, be a cop. But Vi's parents were killed by cops. She doesn't want to be a cop.
No.
Until
she does suddenly. Because she realizes that she can use the power of the badge to do what she wants. Which sounds like every cop ever, but what are you going to do? So yeah, she does join. And the two of them, once again, are going after Jinx, who's Vi's sister, who, as we recall, killed all those council members. And so Vi is convinced that she can get Jinx. They're sort of on this like group of cops that are supposed to do it, but then they're going to go off on their own, and Vi wants to kill her.
They don't need any distractions.
Vi basically wants to extrajudiciously kill her because I don't know that there is any sort of judicial system. Anyway.
We never see any trials.
Know.
It seems like they don't, no one's a lawyer.
Yeah. So anyway, Caitlyn, though she is on board with this catching Jinx idea, is a little concerned that Vi is going to like go too far and change as a person. So she says to her, I'm so sorry about your mother. I'm sorry I can't bring her back, but please, just everyone in my life has changed. Promise me you won't change. And they kiss.
Oh, yeah. And then Caitlyn says, I won't.
And then they kiss more. So
in
you're
the
like,
hallway.
It's happening with the ladies.
Yay, they're definitely... But I think this is part of the narrative that, and we'll get to the creators' comments of like, people were like, are they actually 100% queer? Because in the first season, there's nothing physical. And so now...
Yeah. So they had to deliver on the physicality.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they do. And you're like, great, everything's going well for our ladies. But then they come across Jinx, who has this little adopted child now.
And is really turning her life around.
She is turning her life around. She's way less of two split personalities at this point, and she's got a little kid, and she's just taking care of the kid and living the quiet life. And so they find her. Caitlyn loses her shit and is like, she's in the same room, I have to murder her, but the little child gets in the way, and she doesn't care. She's still gonna straight up murder this girl with a tiny child in the way. So Vi has to step in and stop her from potentially murdering a child. And you'd think Caitlyn would say, you're right, I went a bit too far there. But no.
Instead, she says, I keep trying to tell myself that you're different, but your blood runs in her veins. This is about how, like, Vi was like, I can do it. I can kill her. She's not my sister anymore.
Yeah.
And, you know, that never works.
And Caitlyn's like, but you actually care more about her than me. And Vi says, then why are you the one acting like her? Fair point. And then Caitlyn punches her and runs away and leaves Vi crying on the floor. And you're like, this is an unhealthy relationship, but now I don't love this.
Yeah. So anyway, Caitlyn runs away. She starts seeing this other lady cop. So again, as we said, like, she's a lesbian. It just, they're both just
lesbians.
Gay.
This is not
just
a
lesbian.
point of concern in the show. But the
No.
sexualities, they're determined.
Yeah. So she starts dating another cop. Vi is depressed and becomes an alcoholic underground fighter, as
you do. A classic story.
Yeah.
So stuff happens. Plot. Jinx ends up getting captured and locked up by Caitlyn after they're trying to have the Messiah Victor turn their werewolf dad into a human again. But don't worry about that. Yeah. So Jinx is in jail. And Vi shows up to talk to Jinx because she's still holding out hope that Jinx can turn into her sister Powder again. And so she's like, I know that you can be good. And Jinx is like, actually, I'm cursed and I need to go kill myself till I don't hurt you anymore. So she locks Caitlyn in the cell and she leaves on her own.
And then Caitlyn comes down and is like, I knew you would be here in the cell. And they have another exchange.
Vi is once again real bummed about the situation. She's like, you're here to tell me that I fucked up again. Go ahead. I'm always fucking up. Tell me I'm an idiot. And she says, I choose wrong every time. And because of it, I've lost everyone.
And Caitlyn says, you really think I needed all the guards at the hex gates? Sorry to say it, but you've grown a bit predictable.
Don't worry about the context of that. But anyway, Vi grabs her. She kisses her. And they're going to have sex, but Caitlyn feels she needs to get something off of her chest. So she says, listen, while you were gone, I saw someone.
And Vi says, Kate, I don't fucking care.
And then they have sex in a jail cell, standing up, seemingly. It happens.
It happens. We've kissed in a hallway. We've fucked in a jail cell.
Yep. That's romance, baby.
Okay, then there's like a war, fighting the outside forces, fighting Victor's robots, etc. But in the end, a lot of people do die.
It's war.
Jinx dies. The werewolf dad dies. Vi's all alone, but she's ended up with Caitlyn.
Because she's not all alone. She still has Caitlyn.
At the end, we see Vi and Caitlyn's big old house, and I guess they just live there together.
Seemingly so. And Vi's like still kind of working through the trauma, presumably, because Caitlyn's like doing something, and she hears Vi singing a sad little song, and she goes in to be like, "Hey, you good, lady?" And she says to her, "Are you still in this fight, Violet?"
And Vi says, "I'm the dirt under your nails, Cupcake. Nothing's gonna clean me out." Cool.
They're together.
That's the end of the show. They're like the last scene.
Yeah. So it's canon. Spoilers for later.
It's queer canon. We're not going to gender swap them because, like, why would you?
They would not be interested.
Yeah, they gay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's nice.
Gay ladies on television. We need more of it. So, who are Jace and Victor?
Okay, so they're both researcher inventor types, as you said. Victor was born in the Undercity and made his way up as an assistant or apprentice to Heimerdinger, who's a furry little guy, man, little cutie. And then Jace comes from the upper city, but his family's like artisans. They're not like top
well,
tier
artisans
people.
kind of, but like
they make hammers.
Yeah, they make hammers. So I don't know. That's
whatever that
thing.
is.
Whatever that is. Yeah.
And so the show sort of kicks off with Vi and crew trying to rob what ends up being Jace's workshop, and they end up getting like the early magic tech. Mm-hmm. And so there's an explosion there, and Victor comes to investigate what the explosion was. Like what happened here?
What had happened here? Why do you have explosive stuff?
Yeah, at your house, dude. What's going on?
Yeah. This is how they meet. Jace is all, "I'm so sad, my house has been burglarized," and Victor's all, "I'm here to investigate." And he also he's like, "I'm here to take anything dangerous that I find, and that includes you," or something like kind of flirty. And you're like, ooh.
Okay.
So anyway, that's their initial meeting. But then the next time they see each other, Victor walks in on Jace as he's about to jump off the side of a building, basically. And he doesn't mention it because he's polite.
Yeah.
But he does give him back the bracelet that he had confiscated that has like a magic stone thing in it. And he gives him a pep talk, which is nice for a guy that they just met. And now they're immediately partners.
Yeah, they're going to work on this cool technology together. Jace wants to know why Victor would do this, and Victor wants to not just be an assistant. He wants to make discoveries. He wants to make the world a better place. And he says to Jace, "This hex tech dream of yours has the potential to do that."
And Jace puts his hand on Victor's shoulder and says, "Our hex tech dream."
Oh.
Wow, we have a shared dream already. Isn't that nice?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so there's this other woman we haven't mentioned named Mel Medarda, who's one of the council members, a very powerful, important lady. She's really she's sort of like the benefactor of the two of them, because nobody else on the council cares about their magic research, but she's like, "I see potential in it."
Some people are anti their magic research.
Right. Some people are like, "It's crazy, it'll never work." Other people are like, "It's dangerous and you shouldn't do it." But she's like, "I see a profit here." So she is sponsoring their research, and because of that, she's spending a lot of time with Jace, going around trying to like sell the idea of the research, and they start fucking.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the scene where the two of them are sleeping together for the first time, we are intercutting between their sex scene and Victor back at the lab. Crazy shit happening. He like hurts himself and bleeds on the hex tech.
I think he gets a nosebleed. He's very sickly. We haven't mentioned that Victor is very sickly.
He's very sickly, which it turns out is part of the reason he wants to do the research, because he thinks this could save him. But anyway, he bleeds a little bit from his nose. I think it gets on the hex tech, some weird magic stuff happens. Then he's like collapses and is passed out in the lab, bleeding and being ill. And so we're cutting between those two things. For some reason, the show is linking them.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. And I believe that's also the scene where Victor has a very pretty assistant who's like, Victor, would you like to walk home with me? And he's like,
nah.
Get out of here, lady.
So, yeah, he ignores the assistant flirting with him. He starts bleeding out in the lab. We're intercutting with the sex scene. And then, implied, according to the fandom, Jace being Victor's emergency contact because Jace ends up leaving Mel in bed after this happens to go sit by Victor's hospital bedside. And this is when he finds out Victor's real sick, like probably dying real sick.
And then when Jace comes back to Mel, initially she's like, why did you leave me? And he's like, Victor's really sick. And Mel's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Oh my God, that sucks. And you're like, yeah, Mel, thank you for your concern. And he tells Mel, Victor saved my life once. Now he needs me and there's nothing I can do. And he's like fiddling with the bracelet that Victor gave him back. I hate feeling so useless.
And Mel says, I didn't realize you were so close.
And he says, he's like my brother. Supernatural style queer coding.
Interesting. Okay, more hex tech stuff happens as Victor's trying to heal his body, and whoops a doozies, his pretty assistant who he doesn't have any time for gets like disintegrated.
She like turns to sand basically. It's bad
bad
because he's like melding with the hex tech, and she comes in at a bad moment and touches him or something.
Yeah, she's like, oh no, something's happening to you.
Yeah, and it's like, nah, should have left it be. But unfortunately, she's gone now.
Yeah. I wish we knew anything about her.
Nope, not gonna happen. But Victor's like, that probably shouldn't have happened. That seems like a bad thing that I just did there. So he gets a little more concerned about the technology.
So he's now like, maybe we shouldn't do this? But then he goes to the council with Jace, because there's been a lot of talk about like weaponizing the hex tech to deal with the Undercity. Jinx bombs the council. Victor gets very hurt, and as we already know, he's weak. He's kind of
he's
sickly.
already
He's not,
kind of sickly. So, but being bombed is not good for him.
No. Jace picks him up, bride across the threshold style.
Yep.
Runs him to the lab where Victor merges with the hex cube, and now he's being kept alive by it in like a blob.
Yeah. And Jace isn't really sure what the hell's going on there, but he's like, seems like the blob's keeping him alive, so we're just gonna do this for a while. And then that is happening because Victor emerges from the blob, and now he's like a purple metal guy partially. So it's done something to him.
His whole body, just his face looks still human-y.
Yeah. And he comes out of the blob and he says, what am I? To Jace. That's always a good question to have.
And Jace says, you're alive. And then they hug.
He's concerned that Victor must be cold, so Jace goes to get him a blanket. But Victor is like, I was supposed to die. You promised you would destroy the hex core. But he didn't do it. He didn't do it.
And Jace is like, it can't be bad. It saved your life.
Exactly. It must actually be good technology. Everyone was wrong about it. You and the furry guy, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So then more stuff happens. Plot. Jace eventually ends up deciding that he needs to resign his seat on the council.
I don't think we mentioned that Jace became a counselor.
Oh, right. Jace became a counselor.
That's part of his relationship with Mel.
Right. But he's really not cut out for politics. And so he decides he needs to resign, and he has this moment with Victor, partially because the council is like not really agreeing with him on stuff. Oh, and also in that time, he gets his friend, the furry guy, kicked off the council, which he feels bad about
his
doing.
Mentor.
He was his mentor.
That's true. And part of the context for this conversation too is Victor's like, I gotta go because now he's back into hex tech, and Jace is like, I don't know about hex tech.
Right. So they're sort of going back and forth about the hex tech all along, and Jace is like, oh no, what hath I wrought? I need to get off the council, and also you should stay. And so they have this conversation. Jace tells him, my place was always here in the lab with you. He puts his arm around him. We'll make this right together.
And Victor says, I must say goodbye to this place now. To you.
Goodbye? Victor, you're my partner.
Our paths diverged long ago. It was affection that held us together.
You think it's so easy? To turn your back while your whole city looks to you for salvation? To cling to principles while your best friend bleeds out in your arms? I never asked for this. And Victor starts to leave. And Jay says, where are you going?
Goodbye, Jace.
These people are so dramatic.
It's true. So Victor leaves. He becomes a Undercity messiah. He's healing people left and right with his magic powers.
Yeah.
And he's also chatting with that disintegrated lady on the astral plane.
Yeah, he's like mostly existing on the astral plane now.
Yeah, with his disintegrated assistant.
Yeah, yep. Heimerdinger, the furry guy, and Echo, the guy from the past who kidnapped Vi a while ago, break into Jace's lab because Echo's got this tree that's keeping his whole people alive, but it's getting these weird colored patterns on it, and it turns out that it's sick because of the magic leaving its signature on it. So they're trying to figure out how to save it. And the three of them, Heimerdinger, Echo, and Jace, all go down to this like room that's the base of the hex gates or something. And then all of a sudden the room turns white with this like rainbow sphere with holes in it. And they all start phasing through space and time, basically. Yeah.
So they're out of the story for a bit. They blinked out of existence while Victor is busy healing the sick. He heals this council member who got his legs really damaged in the explosion. Has clearly been depressed since. And the council member goes down to the hex core for some reason that I can't quite remember. And then Jace phases back into this time and plane of existence. And Victor takes over the council member's consciousness. And he and Jace have a conversation through this council member at the hex gate. And in the future, Jace has been like, uh-oh, Victor's bad news.
Yeah, seems like this isn't going to end well for everybody. But anyway, now Victor is still trying to convince Jace, actually what I'm doing is good. Mm-hmm. If you would just, like, look at what I'm doing. I'm basically Jesus now. And Jace says, I thought you were done with Hex Tech and me.
And Victor says, I was clouded by emotions. Come visit me. See what I've accomplished. I've helped so many.
And then that doesn't happen because he just starts fighting the council member and he ends up squishing him with a huge hammer.
He really does. He kills that guy. That guy's dead, so. And he's like, I got to kill Victor because of what I learned in the future. And then Jace goes down to the Undercity where Victor has his little messiah complex, and he just straight up kills Victor.
He just kills him with no conversation, no lead up at all. It was kind of crazy. He just walks into the room and he hammers him. Victor's corporeal form. Mm-hmm. Wild. But Victor's not dead because, as you know, he lives on the astral plane now. And so there's also robots in the show. I don't think we've mentioned that. So he just, like, puts his consciousness into a robot, basically.
Yeah, but like a cool new robot.
Right. A white one this time. Mm-hmm. And so he's a robot again. And he's still, interestingly, trying to convince Jace that he's right and that Jace should join him. He never gives up on convincing Jace of this. And so once again, they have a conversation in the lab this time where this robot version of Victor is telling Jace, the glorious evolution is destined. Let us instead do this once again as partners.
And Jace says, my partner died in this room.
It was my sincere desire to avoid this. And then they fight. Jace and the robot fight.
And Jace is going to lose the fight, but Mel, who now is a witch with magic powers, saves him.
So now they're like, oh, damn, war is coming because this new kind of robot exists, basically. So Mel and Jace take the robot to the council and say, like, uh-oh, bad stuff's on the horizon.
And also Mel's mom is, like, trying to take over.
Yeah, she's an outsider, but she's, like, taken over the council somehow. Unclear.
And she's sort of aligned with Magic Victor.
Right. She's on the robot side for some reason. And so, oh shit, there's going to be a war between the robots and Mel's mom, and then the rich people and the poor people who live in the place.
Yeah.
And then they have the war. Big battle. You know, things go back and forth throughout. But eventually, Victor ends up using his powers to, like, mind meld with everyone. They all get pulled into his consciousness, and then he ends up pulling Jace into the astral plane with him, and they're gonna have a conversation. So, oh, and also Victor, like, turns into a new form where he's still purple, but he also has like a goat face mask thing.
Yeah.
So he looks different now. But he walks in mid-battle. Let's have a conversation. Talking to Jace. Victor says, "Despite the circumstances, Jace, I am pleased to see you."
And Jace says, "There must be some part of you still in there."
"I am more than I ever was." Sounds like something a Messiah would say.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's linked everyone, and he's talking about why he's done it and how this is going to be good for humanity, actually. And Jace is still trying to convince him that it's a bad idea. And he tells Victor, "You've always wanted to cure what you thought were weaknesses. Your leg, your disease. But you were never broken, Victor. There's beauty in imperfections. They made you who you are, an inseparable piece of everything I admired about you." And then more stuff happens. And Jace, who does get connected to his brain, then gets unconnected from his brain. And he says to Victor, "I thought I wanted us to give magic to the world. Now, all I want is my partner back."
Victor says, "Why do you persist after everything I've done?"
"Because I promised you." And he grabs him and hugs him. And then we have like a flashback.
There's a
to
flashback to when
future.
Jace was in the future, which again we didn't really talk about, but when he was phasing through space and time, he ended up like in the far future. Everyone is dead. The city is destroyed. And it's like the end of time, and he's talking to Victor, who it turns out in a big time loop was also the mage that Jace saw as a child who saved his mother, which led him to think about inventing hex tech. And so, yeah, they're having a conversation at the end of time. And Victor, okay, so
Yep. So Victor's made some realizations or whatever about this, what he's been trying to do. And so what he's realized, Victor says, is there's no prize to perfection, only an end to pursuit. In all timelines, in all possibilities, only you can show me this. And Victor shoves him off and starts to like realize what he's doing, and he says, "You must go, Jace." And Jace puts his hand on his shoulder, gives him the stone that has connected them this whole time, and says, "We finish this together." And then presumably the two of them like
they both die?
End magic and die. It's a little unclear, but this is a resolution to the magic war thing.
Magic's over. These guys are gone.
Yep.
Okay.
And then everybody else is going to be fine, maybe.
They didn't really resolve a lot of the conflict that they set up in the show, so it's really unclear.
They put one poor lady on the council and pretend that's an end to the class problems, so it's all good now.
Progress.
So anyway, Jace is the only thing that could stop Victor from destroying the world. That's romance, I guess.
They're cosmically linked through time and space, different versions of themselves. They're always coming back to each other.
It's true.
Wow.
All right, so that's Jace and Victor,
Mm-hmm.
and Caitlyn and Vi, and their storylines. So this one, we can have a conversation later if we want, but like not as queer canon as Caitlyn and Vi.
Correct. There's definitely controversy within the fandom.
I was going to say, much more controversial
which we will
amongst
get
the
into
fans.
as well.
Yep.
Yeah, it seems like Caitlyn and Vi, probably because it is canon, it's just like a lovely time and everyone's like, that's nice. Which is nice.
Whereas, we love for it to be nice, but Victor and Jace have some ardent supporters and some staunch haters, and so there was some conflict within the fandom, which is where this podcast lives, so we are here for it.
So to the point of Kate Vi just being nice, the main thing we have from the creators around that is from one of the writers, Amanda Overton, who apparently was really spearheading this effort. And so she says, "We knew from the very first week in the writer's room that we were going to tell Caitlyn and Vi's story." Writer, producer, and story editor Amanda Overton tells us following the final act's premiere on Netflix. So this is after the first season. They were going to be our OTP couple for the entire series, and we all knew we had 2 seasons to tell that story. We were able to map that out over the course of 2 seasons to make them, from my point of view, like every other straight couple I've ever seen. You know, that gets to be that OTP.
Yeah.
And she goes on to say, "This is what I've been dreaming of. I still write stories for my 16-year-old self. I love video games. I love big sci-fi and world-building shows. But I so rarely saw myself in those spaces. And if I had seen myself more in those spaces, maybe I would have come out sooner. I would have had an easier journey. That is a huge motivator for me, driving me to tell these stories and trying to get representation into those spaces.
Lovely.
Nice.
Good. Perfect. Great.
Yeah.
Exactly what you want from your writers of shows. Get that queer rep in there, girl. Love
Yes.
it.
She's a queer writer who was like, I'm going to do some queer rep, unlike our Sherlock case, right? Like,
unlike several cases where we've had
Yeah.
queer writers who people are like, why don't you make your characters queer? And they're like, it's not my responsibility. You're like, okay.
He's like connecting it to her past self. It was like, it would have been great for a young me to have seen some queer rep. So I'm going to take that on. Way to go, Amanda.
Yeah. Get it, Amanda. Good job. Good job. So, great. Happy. Fun. No conflict at all. What about Jason Victor?
Okay. I actually think we should probably start with the Christian link of this because it's less controversial. It's
Well,
like it's normal.
It's normal. It's exactly what normally happens on our show. It's familiar.
Yes. So Christian Link is the showrunner.
Yes.
And he pushed back on JayVik. And so he said, just a classic style quote, "For us, it is strange that people say that the only close relationship that two men can have is to be a couple. There are really close friendships, brotherhoods, if you will, really being there for each other. That was really, really important for us to explore. It seems like there's no other version for some fans that say there must be romance. These relationships can be really layered, really complex, you know? I think there's a love between them. I just don't think it's romantic."
I love the implication that people are saying to him, the only kind of love is romantic love.
And also that, like, the idea that they need to explore non-romantic love between men, because all shows are constantly exploring romantic love between men.
I know. People are constantly saying, why can't men just be friends anymore? And I'm like, there are so many male friendships on TV. People react like there's, the airwaves are flooded with gay guys constantly everywhere now. And it's like, no. It's not the case.
Still very rare. If it were, then people would probably let you explore male friendships in your show.
Yeah, but also people are exploring male friendships and things all the time. That's why we have 1,000 quotes of people being like, why can't men just be friends anymore? Stop trying to make it queer. It's like, yes, because there are male friendships everywhere on TV.
Mm-hmm. It's mostly male friendships, really.
Male friendships.
TV has always been and still is mostly male friendships.
So he gets into this, usual answer. We've heard a million variations on this. Mm-hmm. But then later, he in a more controversial move amongst the fans, gives an interview where he starts talking about how from the beginning, and he says this like after the show's over, and obviously it's something that's not talked about on the show, but he says from the beginning, they had always planned for Victor to be asexual. And he starts going on about like, they wanted the representation, but of course this means that he and Jace can't be in love because Victor's asexual. And he's going on about it and how people want asexual representation, and normally asexual people are portrayed as not having emotions, so they wanted to combat that, and yada yada yada.
I think that's so fascinating because I feel like asexual people are never portrayed. So when are they portrayed as not having emotions?
They're not portrayed as anything because they're not portrayed. But
yeah.
So this is an interesting comment initially, because if they had done this, first of all, they maybe could have talked about it, and then it actually would have been like interesting representation. But because it's not talked about in the show, and because of various other things in this quote, fans react negatively because there's a thought that he's using this, one, to deflect away ideas about Victor and Jace being together and say like it's impossible for them to be together because actually he's asexual. He's also clearly misunderstanding what asexuality is, because he's saying that they can't have a romantic relationship because one of them's asexual, when very clearly they could still have a romantic relationship, just not a sexual one. And also he's saying asexuals are always represented this way, which, as you said, they're not represented at all. But the character he's talking about is someone who is rejecting emotions and trying to like not have them and live in this very like sciencey, an unemotional, perfectionist place. So it's like, you've actually done what you're saying is bad. So that's kind of a weird choice. So it ends up being just like fairly controversial.
Yeah.
That he wades into these waters.
It just felt to people like he was saying this after the fact because he didn't like JayVik.
Yeah.
But it gets worse.
You think this is vaguely problematic, but also pretty normal. Yeah, it gets much worse, people.
Yeah. I think it is worth saying, I'm kind of skipping around, because I don't know that we can talk about the quotes from the actors without talking about the fans. So I think we have to sort of blur this. But it's worth saying that the Victor Jace ship predates this show. So within the video game, our understanding is people are already shipping these two characters. And because it's going to become relevant for what we're about to say, Mel is an invention for the show.
Yes. Well, and also important, which we haven't said, Mel is black.
Also true.
That's some context for
but
what
also
we are
important
about to discuss.
for what we're going to say. Jace is not white.
No. Jace is not white. Everyone's got a lot going on. Jace is not white. Victor is disabled, which we're not really going to get a ton into that, and Russian for some reason. And Mel is black. So these are all things you need to know about these characters for the upcoming discussion. Oh, and speaking to the races of the characters, we're about to discuss a couple of actors who are also black.
Yes.
So we have the voice actor who plays Mel, whose name is Tox Olagundoye. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, just a guess. So obviously, Jace and Victor have existed as a ship all along. They exist as an even bigger ship as the show goes. People are creating fan art. People are sharing it online. And so this is the context where Tox sees some Victor and Jace fan art online. She likes it on Instagram, I think is the extent of what's going on here. And people don't like it. That she has expressed support in any way for this Jace and Victor relationship. Because the context of this being, as we know, Mel has a relationship with Jace in the show. People have accused the writing of the show to be leaning into a disposable black girlfriend trope because of the way that Mel and Jace sort of their relationship kind of just goes away in the second season because of the events of the show. But I think, to be fair to the writers, Mel is actually more interesting in season 2 when she's got all her own stuff going on. So
yes, she's a fairly we've kind of danced around this. We didn't love the show. We don't think it's super well written. So some of our reaction to this is, well, yeah, but they didn't do a good job. So I don't know what do you want.
So it's I don't know. But anyway, people are mad about Mel being disposed of either by the writers or by the fans.
Yeah, the JayVik shippers.
Yeah, so they especially think that the JayVik shippers are
well, they were accused of leaning into the two white guys trope.
Even though one of them is not white, as we've said.
Right.
But also they think that people don't want to think about Mel and Jace as a ship because Mel is black. So there's many layers of what's going on with people here.
So these folks who are Mel Jace supporters see this real human black lady like some fan art on Instagram and say to themselves, you know what I should do? Because this is racist towards this fictional black character.
Right.
I should harass and call this real black woman racist.
A racist for liking some fan art of Jace and Victor. I think people might have lost touch with reality a little bit at this point.
Because here's the thing. Maybe Mel don't need no man.
Exactly. Mel and Jace don't make any sense because, who cares about them? I don't actually... This is a writing issue, but I don't really think that they care that much about each other. And so when Mel doesn't have Jace around anymore, all of a sudden she's got powers and stuff. She's making moves.
She's empowered.
She's so cool on her own. I think it's perfectly reasonable for her actress to be like, I actually like Mel's arc on her own. And also, if Jace and Victor want to be together, hell yeah. What do I care? Why not?
Because Mel don't need no man.
Exactly. But anyway, we have fans calling this poor black woman racist for liking fan art. And that's just the beginning.
She is somehow not the most harassed black voice actor from the show.
So, okay, let's introduce you to another voice actor, Reed Shannon, who is the voice actor for Echo, who you'll recall is like one of the guys from the Undercity.
And is honestly our favorite character from the show.
Our favorite character from the show. We wish the whole thing was about him. But anyway, another black character and black voice actor. And so Reed Shannon, again, the things these people have done are so innocent. It's unbelievable the backlash they spark. Reed Shannon is at a convention. Some fan comes there with a sign that says, "Make JayVik canon." And they ask him to sign it. And he does sign it. And then they post the photo online and he retweets it and says like #canon or whatever. Mm-hmm. This is what he has done. That's the extent of his support for this very controversial ship. Fans freak out. They accuse him of supporting the disposable black girlfriend trope. He ends up having to come out with statements in support of himself to say, "I have always been on the record that Mel Medarda is my favorite character. I've said so many times in the past." And he actually has to say, "I'm not racist." Which is crazy, because I'll remind you, he's black. People are so crazy. What's going on here? Anyway.
Yeah.
Our favorite bit is this tweet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He says, "I just want to say, IDK what's happening on here, but you can find in just about any interview I've done that Mel Medarda is my favorite character, and I'm quite literally in love with her, and talks. Lol, also me being a racist is not based, and it's Black History Month. What are we talking about?"
And so the poor guy schedules a live stream to address the harassment that he has received online for this shit, and says to people it's too late for apologies, which I love that, over how he's been treated. And fans once again assume that his live stream is him supporting JayVik and start calling out the stream for being pandering, and people start sending him requests that instead of or in addition to speaking about his own harassment that he experienced, you'll recall.
A real human being,
he should instead speak about the racism and misogyny against characters and fans in the fandom. What are we doing here, people?
Guys, not the play to be like, oh, this character is not being treated well by other fans as fictional character. You know what I'm going to do? Harass a real black person. And it's worth saying that other voice actors have come out in support of JayVik. Harry Lloyd said that JayVik was deeper than romantic, and yet somehow it seems like only the black voice actors end up getting harassed by the fans.
So weird. What a strange thing that is, I'm sure, just a coincidence.
Yeah.
I did also see someone had Harry Lloyd sign, they printed out the description of the fic that we're going to talk about later and brought it to him at a convention, and he signed it and as himself and as Victor, and was like, hell yeah, brother. So sure. he's done plenty to be like, yeah, I like you people shipping my character.
But go only the black people who support it are racist.
It all makes sense.
Me being a racist is not based, and it's Black History Month. What are we talking about?
Me being a racist is not based is my favorite combination of words that anyone has ever said.
So this was very interesting because obviously we got this recommendation, and again, we're sorry, we didn't love the show, so we're going through it, and we're like, okay, we'll talk about it. And then we get to this, and we're like, oh,
we know what we're gonna talk about.
God, guys.
Insane fandom behavior. We love talking about it.
Come on.
Now, this is obviously insane, but an interesting element of it is this ship and show, but ship is very popular, mainstream popular in an interesting way. We've got lots of internet celebrity types on Maine talking about this ship, which is not usually a thing that happens with non-canon queer ships. It's pretty rare. So yeah, we think it's worth discussing these two, but also interesting in the context of these people did not get any backlash for it either, unlike these poor voice actors. First, we have, I think it was a live stream or something.
Yeah.
Where Baby No Money and Will Neff cosplayed as Jace and Victor and had a whole live stream about it where they were pretending to be them and they were kissing as them and like they were like,
nice.
Make JayVik canon, y'all. Big fans of the ship. And they don't get in any trouble. Then we have another incident where Hassan Piker is online and somebody shows him fan art of Jace and Victor and he's like, hell yeah.
That's cool.
That's cool. And so this is like a thing that is existing a lot in various other online spaces that
Baby
are
No Money also apparently posted a video of him giving like a presentation on why JayVik should be canon, and McKenna Grace was like, I'm listening. So like celebs are into
People
it.
are into it. So interesting. One of the more interestingly like mainstream ships that we've discussed in terms of people outside of the fandom talking about it, which is interesting. But seemingly inside the fandom, it's real toxic, y'all.
Just a mess.
It's
just a whole ass mess.
Why is this happening?
I feel like we've always said on the podcast, and we believe this wholeheartedly, don't harass real people.
Yeah, we are definitely we've been on the record that real people should not be harassed, no matter your opinions about the things that happen in the shows.
For the characters they play, for the opinions they have about ships, let's not do that.
Yeah. I think we can have strong opinions about shipping, about fan culture, about various things that happen in television shows, but that does not mean that we need to harass people. Harassment is bad, generally. Let's not do it. Don't harass the creators. Don't harass the actors. Please don't harass other fans in your fandom. It makes fandom a sad place to be, and nobody wants that.
And it should be a fun place to be. We're being creative and just imagining whatever we want to imagine.
Yeah. So crazy that stuff went down like this in this fandom.
That to us really became the story of like, wow.
What are we doing here, people?
Yikes.
So, yeah, a tale of two ships, really. Caitlyn and Vi, everyone's chill. Jace and Victor. It's a mess. But yeah, it is interesting that it became this storyline about how the Mel fans feel like the Jace Victor fans were trying to get rid of her, and really it's like the Jace Victor fans predate Mel existing. Yeah. And so it's its own.
She's a little bit of like a no homo.
She's kind of a no homo lady if you think about it.
But also, once again, and I think, you know, there's the question of like, okay, season 1 ended and the Jace Victor fans were already taking off, and then people were like, but what about Mel? And they hadn't seen that in the second season she really does her own thing. So, you know, but like, it's cooler when she does her own thing. She doesn't need Jace.
No. Honestly, who needs Jace?
Jace sucks.
Yeah.
That man has no center.
No, I don't understand who he is as a character, honestly. But go be a witch, Mel. It's much cooler for you.
And witches really don't need men.
Absolutely not. Witches need covens of other women. Men, I think, sap the powers of witches.
They really do.
You should not have men around. Masculine energy is bad for witchcraft.
It's true.
All right. Well, as you might expect by the fact that this ship has sort of breached containment, as it were, this is a fairly popular fandom and ship. Both ships, very popular. So, when we look at AO3, they're on both the 2025 ship stats list, and they've newly entered the all-time list. So for 2025, JayVik is number 1 on the stats list, and Kate Vi is number 3. So they are crushing it. And because of their huge performance in 2025, Kate Vi enters the all-time list at number 60, and JayVik enters the all-time list at number 63. So
impressive.
Wow.
Impressive production fandom.
Exactly. Jace Victor now sits at about 19,800 tagged fics. Kate Vi sits at about 19,400 tagged fics. So they're both quite popular.
You'll love to see it.
Yeah, we read a fic for each ship, as you might expect. Do you want to tell me about the Jace Victor fic?
Sure. So Jace and Victor are in the lab. Jace needs to go schmooze people at a party, and Victor's like, fine, go. And then he's thinking about how much he loves Jace. And then Jace comes from the future. It's future Jace. And he's like, this Jace is different. He's all disheveled and seems
traumatized.
Sad.
Yeah.
And future Jace is like, oh my God, it's you, Victor. Look, you're so beautiful. And he's like, the thing is, if you had just told me that you wanted us to be together and, you know, we could have given up Hex Tech, I need you to tell past me to give up Hex Tech because it gets really, really bad. And I need you to tell me that you love me and we'll just do something else together. Mm-hmm, and so they are physically intimate a little bit. And Victor's like, oh my God. And then he's like, what am I going to do? And then Jace, normal timeline Jace, comes back from the party and he's a little tipsy. And Victor's like, I love you. We should be together. Let's give up Hex Tech. And Jace is like, okay.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do. I love you.
Yeah.
And then they have sex. And also, this is relevant to the next fic. Jace is like, you're so beautiful and perfect. And Victor's like, how could you say that? I'm from the Undercity. I'm horrible and gross. And he's like, no, you're beautiful. And then they're going to be together and use something else to solve problems and give up Hex Tech and not destroy the world.
Yep. Did you say what the fic, what it was called?
I sure didn't. This fic was called Love Was the Law by Ruin That Boy.
Ruin That Boy.
Okay.
So, as you said, it is relevant. I'll just describe the Kate Vi fic now, and we can discuss them both together. The Kate Vi fic is called Gotta Be Down Because I Want It All by what I assume is pronounced Nimish. And it's basically just that last bit. The whole fic is Vi introspecting about her relationship with Caitlyn and how she's surprised that she lets Caitlyn say the things she does to her, like telling her that she loves her and that she's beautiful and blah blah blah. And then there's the scene in it where they have a conflict about Caitlyn telling Vi she's beautiful and Vi being like, what are you talking about? I am not beautiful. And then she's like, no, but really you are. And she has to like make her believe it. And they have sex throughout, and at the end, Vi tells Caitlyn that she loves her, and she's like, don't make me say it again. But it's about, like, her surprising amount of emotional intimacy with Caitlyn, which she's never experienced with anyone else before. But it was interesting how there was a scene in both of them where it was like, you can't call me beautiful.
I'm a hideous creature from the Undercity, and you're a beautiful rich person.
But you know what? They both made them believe it.
They did.
Nice.
Don't we all want a beautiful rich person
to
tell us we're beautiful? That's the dream, baby.
Yep. So they lived the dream. But yeah, I mean, there's not a lot more to them. That's what was going on in it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Anything to say about the fic?
They were both nice.
They were sweet, yeah.
Yeah.
There was not a lot of, like, conflict in either of them.
A little smutty. Mm-hmm. Good. No problems here.
Sure. All right. We have already talked about how fans and creators interact. And for the most part, people gotta relax.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like a lot of the things we do on this podcast, we're like, the creator is being antagonistic and is at fault. And in this one, we're like, leave these poor voice actors alone.
Well, to be fair,
actually, most of the time when we talk about actors, we're like, leave these actors alone.
Almost always we're like, don't be mean to the actors. They don't have any control in this situation. Just relax. Whereas the writers, and in this case too, one of the writers can be like, stop shipping my characters. And you're like, mind your own business, writer. We'll do what we want with your characters. But with the actors, please don't be mean to the actors. They didn't write it.
And if they like a piece of fan art, hey man, maybe she just really liked the art style.
Maybe. Or maybe she likes Jace and Victor, and that's fine too. It literally does not matter. Plus, it's objectively good, by the way, for actors to like fan art and stuff. Like, that's good for fandom, that they are there being like, yes, please engage with our content. We like that you draw art of it. We like that you write fanfic about it. That's good for us. Stop harassing them for it.
Let's leave these poor people alone. Okay. We're not going to gender swap Kate and Vi. We
Nah,
could gender
that would make
swap
them not get together.
Jace and Victor.
Would they be a couple? Would they be a couple? Well, I mean, once one of them becomes like
The Messiah.
a god figure, it's a little tougher.
I guess the thing is, it's another one of our classic cases. Like, let's say Victor's a girl, okay? And so then Jace is torn between Mel and
triangle
Victor.
situation.
A love triangle situation. I don't know that the writers would be like, hey, it's a friendship. It's a
They definitely would
siblinghood.
not. They never ever. Okay. Can I have a little tangent?
Yeah, sure.
I wish people would give 5% of the energy they give to why can't men just be friends with each other to let's have some male-female friendships on television. Mm-hmm. Like, that almost never happens.
They're like siblings. It's deeper than that. It's like a sibling relationship.
That's so rare. Let's have that. I want fewer male friendships, more men fucking, more male-female friendships, less men and women fucking. That's what the television climate needs.
Yeah. So, yes, no, I don't think that would be, any creator would come out and be like, no, they're like siblings. It would be a love triangle.
Yeah, for sure. And we probably wouldn't get we always intended for one of them to be asexual. It's like, okay.
No.
If you always intended that, why didn't you, like, make it part of the show then?
Good question.
I don't know. Okay.
Which is not to say that they would get together. I guess they would still, well, if you disappear with your bro at the end of space and time through magic, have you? We don't really know where they go.
Exactly. We're not, like, sure that they cease to exist. And apparently in the minds of the fandom, a lot of them think that the two of them are living in a cottage together in the woods. So maybe that's
unclear.
happening.
It's at least unclear.
So yeah, they might end up together, honestly. Hard to say.
Yeah.
They definitely don't end up with anybody else.
No.
All right. Souls intertwined to the end of time or whatever's happening there.
Cool.
Cool.
Okay, so Caitlyn Vi, queer canon.
Yep.
Done. Jace Victor. Is it queer baiting, queer coding, or queer canon?
Now, I'm a little mixed about this one. Definitely not queer canon, obviously. The fact that the ship of the two of them exists for so long before the show makes it feel like we could be living in a queer baiting space. And obviously people are talking about it. But I'll say, as me, person watching the show, I didn't find that they really wrote that much towards the two of them having a romantic relationship, other than, I guess, them calling each other partners every second of the day.
We're partners.
We're partners.
Partner.
You and I, we're partners. I just need my partner. And you're like, okay, it's a little heavy-handed at this point. So I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't think the show is, as we've said, I don't think the show is very well written. I don't think they're writing, like, interesting subtext into their relationship for you to lean into. They're sort of just like, everything seems to be happening all the time. I don't know. How do you feel about what's going on with their relationship from the writer's perspective?
Yeah, I mean, clearly the showrunner is like, no. Yeah. So there's, like, that element of it. But, yeah.
But sometimes showrunners say no.
And they still have written in.
And they have written it according to a bunch of romantic tropes. Like,
yes.
Like Stucky or something, you know?
To your point, I think it is difficult for me to access this as potential queer baiting because I don't understand either of their characters independent of each other. And then it makes it very hard for me to understand their relationship. And then once Victor becomes a weird Messiah robot, I'm like, I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, and part of my struggle with the show is that from moment to moment, I didn't know what was happening. So it was really hard to latch on to the relationships.
So, like, as I mentioned earlier, I was like, it feels like Jace has no center. So I'm like, why would you fall in love with this man? He's got, like, no core personality.
Exactly.
And then Victor seems normal until all of a sudden he's not normal. And then you're like, are these two in love? I don't know. As a guy with no internal life and a guy who now thinks he's like the Messiah, are they in love? It's hard to say.
That's exactly how I feel. It's hard to say. I mean, at the end, it is interesting that they very much rest the, like, oh, I will no longer destroy the world because of my feelings for you. You're like, that feels fairly romantic, potentially, but also, like, I don't know why they did anything they did up to this point. So I don't
And they're
know.
apart for so much of season 2. It's like hard. Like they do have the parting at the end of season 1 where you're like, oh no, our partners. They're no longer partners. And then I think in season 2 you'd want them to have more interactions, but Jace has blinked out of existence for most of the season, and
Yeah.
Victor's kind of doing what he's doing. And so, yeah, then you get to the end and you're like, okay.
Now, I do think an interesting thing about it is that they went into the show knowing that there was at least some fan speculation about the relationship between these two guys from the game. And instead of leaning into it, they intentionally introduced a female love interest for one of them. So, like, that feels like an intentional choice, at the very least. But I don't know that I could give them credit for any real...
But at the same time, like, it felt to me throughout the show like Mel was always using Jace.
Yes.
And so, like, I don't know that I was, like, deeply invested in their relationship emotionally either.
We didn't talk about this, but to me, their relationship was so weird because she is, like, his sponsor or whatever, and then he's trying to make this technology for the betterment of humanity. The way that they get into a relationship is she tries to convince him to sell the technology to some shady people because it would benefit them financially, basically, but she's like, to win support for this, you need to work with these shady people. And you think because he's trying to do good for humanity, he's going to be like, no, I don't want to do that. But instead he's like, sure, I'll do that. And then they immediately are sleeping together. And you're like, what? And so I was like, is this part of a scheme on his part to, like, do something to her because she was convincing him to do bad things that he didn't want to do? No, it wasn't a scheme at all. And also, she's, like, kind of using him because she needs his tech, but also she seems to actually like him, kind of. Like,
I think they like each other. I don't feel like they're passionately in love.
Right, exactly. Neither of them was using the other in any interesting way. Neither of them was, like, passionately in love with the other. You just were sort of like, okay, are we just sleeping together because we're hot? Is that what's happening? I don't know.
Sleeping together because they kind of like each other and they're both really hot.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
It's absolutely fine, but there was never a point where I was like, I'm so invested in this relationship between the two of you.
Yeah. And again, Mel was cooler when she went off and became a witch without him.
Of course. Of course she was. So,
she's got a great character design. We didn't talk about that.
She's so cool looking. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And she has these, like, gold lines all over her body, and they get, like, there's more of them when she's more powerful and witchy. She's so cool.
She looks great. She looks really, really great.
Anyway, I don't know that we have an answer.
Yeah, we didn't feel queer baited, but we can't tell if it's just because of the way the show was written in general, or if right, the queer baiting comes out of them doing romantic tropes, but that requires the show to be coherently written.
Yeah, there were not romantic tropes, really, in their relationship.
There were occasional, like, pieces of dialogue. If they had been in a better show with more context, you'd be like, oh my God.
Oh my God, I see what you're doing. But see, that's the thing. Queer baiting requires an element of, I see what you're doing, and at no point in the show did I see what they were doing.
With any character or any plot element. Across the board, at no point were we like, I see what you're doing. Every moment to moment of the show was like, what's going on?
I was like, I don't see what you're doing.
I don't know what's happening, though. What's this now? How does that work? Who is that guy?
Okay, we have to stop. I'm not trying to rag on the show, but anyway, I don't know. It's unclear to me if they were queer baiting. Perhaps if you were inside their heads or had more knowledge of what they were trying to do, that would be the case. But I don't have enough evidence on my end.
Okay.
So yeah, can't even scale it. I have no idea what happened. Why isn't it canon? Do we have a hypothesis?
Again, Caitlyn Vi, 100% canon. Amanda really wanted it to happen. She wanted the representation, and we support her.
We support you, Amanda Overton. Make more lesbians in TV.
Yeah, I hope she gets more jobs where she can put more lesbians in animation.
Or non-animation.
Yeah, real life, science fiction, anything she wants to do. Anything she wants to do. Why is it not canon? Well, again, it seems like the showrunner was like,
it's not going to be canon. So that's why. Yep. Okay. Anything else we need to say about Arcane?
No.
I'm sorry we didn't like it more.
In all things we don't like that we talk about on the show, we're sorry.
I'm sorry.
We're sorry. I'm sorry I didn't like the Kelvin timeline Star Trek.
Yeah.
Nadia, sorry she doesn't like Lord of the Rings. We're all sorry.
I'm sorry. I want to be having a good time so that you can all have a good time too.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
We don't want anyone to feel bad about liking a thing.
No, because
you can
clearly
like whatever you
a
want.
lot of people like this thing. You're not alone.
Yeah. It just
We're-
is not
we're
for
the crazy
us.
ones. I don't know.
We didn't get it. I don't know what's going on with both of us, but we were having a hard time. And maybe we're just missing it.
Yeah,
It's possible.
it's possible. But
So like what you like.
Like what
ship
you
who you
like.
want to ship. Be nice to
Absolutely.
actors.
and be
That's
nice
the
to each
moral.
other. Everyone be
nice
nice
to
to
each
each other, please.
Everyone be nice to each other. That's what we want to leave you with. Be good to one another.
Exactly.
Be excellent to one another.
Oh, hell yeah. That's what we should end every show with.
Bill and Ted, baby. Be excellent to one
Words
another.
of wisdom. Okay, what are we going to talk about next time?
Another listener request. Stranger Things. Byler.
Very intriguing. I'm hearing all kinds of stuff about Byler online. I'm really intrigued to see where this is going to go. I am someone who I have seen some of Stranger Things. I watched the first maybe 2 seasons when they aired.
Okay.
But that's a long time ago at this point. So the show has continued on without me. I will have to refresh my memory. You, I believe, have seen none of Stranger Things.
I have seen no Stranger Things. This will be me watching Stranger Things for the first time.
But to get you excited, I told you Sean Astin is in season 2, so you have that
I
to
love
look
Sean
forward to.
Astin. You know? Glad to see him. Want that man to get work. Love it.
Yeah.
An 80s legend. Sean
He is an
Astin.
80s legend. You got to have as many 80s legends as possible in your 80s period piece
Homage show. Yeah.
Especially like a genre 80s show. I mean, come on.
Come on. He's a Goonie.
He is a Goonie. All right. Looking forward to it. Another very popular piece of media that I'm really hoping that we react more positively to.
Yeah.
All right.
Fingers
In the meantime.
Here's the thing, guys. We
What?
want to like things too.
Yes, of course. Nobody wants to watch stuff that they don't enjoy.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're gonna have a positive attitude as we always do. Although I did like the Stranger Things that I saw, so my attitude is positive.
And I believe it's a thing I could enjoy.
Yeah. Okay, great.
I like the 80s.
I like the 80s. All right. Anyway, come back next time and join us for that. But in the meantime, if you have comments, questions, or concerns, or suggestions of things we should watch, because clearly we will do it, even if we don't like the thing, reach out to us at ltbkpod@gmail.com. We are on Tumblr at ltbkpod and have a Discord that you can find the link to on our Tumblr. If you're enjoying the podcast, tell a friend, leave us a review, and subscribe. The next episode of Let the Boys Kiss will be out in March 2026.